The 33rd degree master key is not earned, but remembered. An inner awakening where thought and love become a single creative force. As these teachings unfold, you reconnect with the hidden law that governs manifestation, timing, and harmony. What you are about to hear unlocks the difference between existing in life and consciously commanding it. 33rd degree master key. Introduction. Hidden within the unseen design of existence rests an eternal law, older than language and as precise as the movement of the stars. You live within this law at all times, whether aware of it or not, for your thoughts, when fused with emotion, quietly sculpt the conditions of your life. This is not symbolism or belief, but the inner mechanism through which reality takes form. The universe does not answer desire spoken lightly, nor wishes released without conviction. It responds only to coherence, the moment when a thought is crowned with feeling and impressed upon consciousness. Every idea you hold is a seed, but it is emotion that determines whether it remains dormant or rises into manifestation. What you feel gives weight to what you think, calling it forth into experience. This creative law moves through three living currents: awareness, belief, and expectation. Awareness awakens you to your role as the silent architect behind events. Belief anchors your vision, granting it permission to exist. Expectation becomes the signal sent into the unseen, setting the rhythm by which your reality rearranges itself to meet you. To master these forces is to cross a threshold. You no longer drift within circumstance, reacting to life as it appears. You begin shaping it from within. This mastery cannot be achieved through surface optimism alone. It requires alignment. Your thoughts must be chosen with intention, and your emotions must resonate with the truth of what you seek to experience. Yet the purpose of this knowledge extends beyond personal gain. As you awaken to your creative authority, you naturally harmonize with the greater current of life itself. This harmony is the mark of the 33rd degree. Not a title bestowed, but an inner remembrance of your divine capacity to create in balance with the whole. In this state of remembrance, thought and love merge into a single master key. Through their union, you unlock your power to shape reality while remaining aligned with universal good. This is conscious creation in its highest form, the sacred convergence of mind and emotion, guided by wisdom and anchored in harmony. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of the Invisible Architect. Chapter 1. The Mirror Within. The delicate art of manifestation reveals itself through the tapestry of human experience, where each thread of circumstance weaves precisely according to the pattern held within. In an ancient village among mist-covered hills lived Leela, a woman whose days seemed painted in shades of perpetual disappointment. Her garden withered despite dutiful care, her relationships frayed at the edges, and her simple wishes appeared to scatter like leaves in an autumn wind. Yet in the depths of her solitude, Lila stumbled upon a truth as old as time itself. Every thorn in her outer world grew from a seed planted in the soil of her inner beliefs. Each withered bloom in her garden reflected a hope she had allowed to fade within her heart. As she began to tend the garden of her thoughts with the same dedication she once gave her failing flowers, a transformation quietly took root. In the same village dwelt Eugene, whose weathered hands had restored countless timepieces to their rhythmic dance. In his humble shop, surrounded by the gentle ticking of 100 hearts of brass and steel, he discovered a truth that transcended his craft. Every misaligned gear and frozen pendulum spoke to him of moments in his own life where time seemed to stand still, frozen by fear, doubt, or regret. As Eugene learned to synchronize the delicate mechanisms before him, he recognized that the same principles governed the clockwork of his inner world. Each timepiece he restored became a meditation on alignment, not just of springs and wheels, but of thought and expectation. The steady tick-tock of his restored clocks echoed the truth that all of life moves in divine timing, guided by the precision of focused attention. Through Eugene's awakening, we glimpse the universal law, that outer harmony flows naturally from inner calibration. Just as a master clockmaker adjusts each component with patience and precision, you too must tune the instruments of your thoughts and emotions to create the symphony of your desired reality. Ancient practice of the reflecting pool. As darkness drapes its velvet mantle across the sky each night, find a moment of sacred stillness. In this quiet sanctuary, welcome every reflection that once caused resistance. Breathe deeply into the spaces where tension dwells behind your thoughts. With each breath, feel that tension dissolving into an expectancy of good, transforming you into the master architect of your experience. Let gratitude flow freely for these mirrors that have guided you toward greater awareness, knowing that in this gentle acceptance, you align with the infinite precision of universal law. Chapter 2. The Current of Thought. In the stillness of your own experience lies a truth that echoes through the ages, the power of surrender to life's natural flow. Just as Mabel discovered in her journey from striving to thriving, you too will find that the universe operates through currents of energy that seek natural expression. Watch how Mabel's story mirrors your own path. For years, she chased success with clenched fists and tightened shoulders, believing that force would yield fortune. Each opportunity seemed to demand more effort than the last, until exhaustion became her constant companion. Yet transformation awakened when she released her grip on control. The ancient wisdom speaks clearly. Thought generates an electric field that shapes reality, while emotion creates the magnetic attraction that draws experience into form. These twin forces dance eternally, creating the circumstances of your life. When you align with this truth, struggle dissolves into graceful allowing. Consider Chester, who tended his garden in the valley beneath the old mountains. His flowers would wither when he hovered anxiously over them, checking their growth with worried eyes. But when he learned to approach his garden with quiet joy, something miraculous occurred. The flowers began to bloom with unprecedented vigor, as if responding to the peaceful energy he now embodied. Chester's discovery reveals a universal principle. Abundance flows not through strain, but through serene acceptance. His garden flourished precisely when he ceased forcing its growth. This mirrors the way your own life responds to the quality of energy you bring to each moment. The key lies not in doing more, but in being more aligned with the natural current of life. When thought flows without resistance, charged with the magnetic power of positive emotion, reality shapes itself accordingly. Your role is not to make things happen, but to allow them to unfold through the power of your relaxed attention. Sacred practice. The river of being. Find a quiet space each morning as the sun rises. Settle into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Imagine your body as a crystal-clear river flowing eternally. With each breath, allow your thoughts to drift like leaves on the surface of this river. Make no effort to control or direct them. Simply observe their natural movement. Feel how the water of your awareness carries away all tension, all strain, all need to force outcomes. Trust that in this gentle flow, only that which serves your highest good will remain. Let your heart beat in rhythm with this sacred current, training yourself in the art of allowing rather than forcing. Through this practice, you align with the ancient truth. Peace is the highest state of receptivity, and from this state, all good things naturally flow. Chapter 3. The Seed and the Sky. For countless winters, Hazel kept her art hidden in darkened corners, each canvas a testament to dreams unrealized. In her small studio overlooking ancient hills, brushstrokes of vibrant possibility remained veiled beneath heavy cloths, their beauty untested by the light of day. You know this feeling well, the weight of potential pressed down by doubt's heavy hand. Yet within every soul burns an eternal flame that cannot be forever dimmed. One morning, as golden rays pierced through her window, Hazel felt an inexplicable stirring, that same force that now moves within you. Her paintings called to her with an intensity that could no longer be denied. With trembling fingers, she unveiled each canvas, allowing sunlight to dance across colors that had waited patiently in shadow. In that moment of courage, her art awakened to its true purpose, not to hide, but to shine. This truth extends far beyond paint and canvas. Every dream you hold, every vision that stirs your spirit, contains within it the same natural impulse toward expression that moved through Hazel's hands. The law of manifestation operates with unwavering certainty. What is planted in the soil of belief must eventually break through to the surface, reaching toward light. Raymond, who had guided aircraft through countless skies, understood this principle in his bones. To his young students, nervous about their first solo flights, he would explain how every successful journey begins not with the visible but with the invisible. Before you ever leave the ground, he would say, unseen currents of air are already holding you, supporting your ascent. Your task is not to create the lift, but to align with forces already in motion. These whispered truths echo across time. The seen emerges from the unseen just as surely as spring follows winter. Your thoughts, like seeds, contain complete blueprints of their fulfillment. The universe's response to your inner vision is as natural as a flower turning toward the sun. The ancient practice of sacred planting. Find a quiet moment at dawn or dusk. Settle into stillness and imagine your heart center as a garden of infinite fertility. Choose one pure thought, one vision of what you wish to manifest. See it as a seed of light, perfect and complete. With gentle attention, plant this luminous seed in the soil of your heart. Feel the warmth of your faith surrounding it. Now, with the same trust that allows you to breathe without conscious effort, release your creation to the nurturing forces of the universe. Each day, water it with gratitude, but resist the urge to unearth it with doubt. Let your faith be the constant gardener, knowing that what is planted in light must inevitably emerge into form. Chapter 4. The Voice of Intention. Within the corners of her modest home, Dorothy moved through her days muttering wishes into empty rooms. "Maybe things will get better," she would sigh, her words trailing off like smoke in the wind. "I suppose I'll manage somehow." Yet her desires remained as insubstantial as morning mist, dissolving in the harsh light of doubt. Until one morning, as sunlight streamed through her window, understanding dawned within her heart. Each word she spoke was not merely sound, but a vibration that rippled through the fabric of existence itself. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, received every utterance as a command, every whisper as a decree. When you speak into the void, you are not casting words into emptiness. You are programming the very matrix of creation. Your voice carries the power to shape reality, not through volume or repetition, but through the crystalline clarity of intention. Each syllable you form becomes a seed, each sentence a garden waiting to bloom. In the quiet sanctuary of his library, Clifford discovered this truth among his beloved books. Where others saw only dusty shelves and endless tasks, he found a laboratory for manifesting peace. "I choose calm," he would whisper, and like a pebble dropped in still water, his words would send ripples of tranquility through the air. Patrons noticed the change. Voices naturally softened, movements became more graceful, and even the most restless children found themselves drawn into the gentle rhythm of serenity. The power lay not in the words themselves, but in the quiet certainty with which he spoke them. Each declaration carried the weight of knowing, the assurance that reality would bend to meet his chosen vibration. The library became more than a building. It transformed into a living testament to the creative force of conscious speech. Your words are not mere expressions of thought. They are architects of experience. When you speak with intention, you tap into the same creative force that birthed galaxies. The universe does not judge between casual mumblings and purposeful declarations. It responds to all with equal faithfulness. Ancient practice. Throughout your day, speak softly to the world as if it listens eagerly, shaping each sentence as an invocation of serenity or joy, and feel language turn from noise to creation. Begin by whispering, "I am peace," into the dawn, and watch as the day arranges itself to match your declaration. Let each word fall from your lips like a precious seed, knowing it carries within it the power to grow into tangible reality. Chapter 5. The Dance of Frequency. In the heart of an ancient valley, where melody and mountain air intertwined, lived a singer named Millie. Her voice had once soared with the eagles, touching souls and stirring hearts. Yet as shadows crept into her spirit, her songs began to waver, their brilliance dimming like stars behind gathering clouds. You see, the voice carries more than mere notes. It resonates with the deepest currents of your being. As Millie discovered, when her inner light flickered, her melodies lost their shimmer. The notes remained the same, yet something vital had vanished. But when joy filled her heart, even the simplest tune radiated with ethereal beauty, drawing listeners into its enchanted sphere. This truth extends far beyond music. It reaches into every corner of existence. Your emotional frequency acts as the master tuning fork for all that manifests in your life. Just as a crystal glass vibrates in response to its matching tone, the universe responds to the resonance you emit. When you align your inner song with the frequency of what you seek, creation itself conspires to match your melody. Consider Harold, who cast his nets in waters both abundant and spare. Through years of quiet observation, this wise fisherman learned that different baits attracted different fish. Yet his greatest revelation came when he understood that his own state of being was the most potent lure of all. On days when his heart brimmed with gratitude, the fish seemed to leap willingly into his boat. When frustration clouded his mind, even the richest waters yielded little. The law reveals itself. What you receive mirrors what you transmit. Energy flows in perfect circles, returning to its source with mathematical precision. Your emotional signature broadcasts continuously into the infinite, drawing back experiences that match its pattern. Like calls to like, tone summons tone, until your outer world becomes a perfect reflection of your inner symphony. You need not struggle or strain. The art lies in attunement rather than effort. When you calibrate your being to the frequency of your desires, they flow to you as naturally as rivers run to sea. Your task is not to force, but to align, not to reach, but to resonate. Ancient practice of harmonic alignment. Before embarking on any significant endeavor, find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Close your eyes and imagine your emotional essence as an instrument awaiting tuning. Begin to hum softly, allowing the vibration to fill your chest. Visualize your inner tone growing brighter, clearer, more balanced with each breath. Feel yourself becoming a pure note of intention, perfectly aligned with your desired outcome. Let this harmonious state become your natural frequency, knowing that life itself will match your melody. Trust in the law of resonance and watch as circumstances effortlessly arrange themselves in harmony with your transformed vibration. Chapter 6. The Hidden Magnet. In a bustling marketplace, amidst the ebb and flow of daily commerce, Cora stood before her empty stall, her heart heavy with familiar disappointment. Day after day she watched as customers passed by, drawn instead to neighboring merchants. With each setting sun, her anticipation of another barren day grew stronger, unknowingly weaving a web that caught exactly what she feared. Through the wisdom of experience, you come to understand that expectation acts as an unseen magnet, drawing to itself circumstances that match its nature. Like calls to like, as surely as iron filings arrange themselves around a magnetic field. Your anticipations shape the very fabric of what manifests before you. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to the frequency you maintain. Each thought sends ripples through the cosmic waters, attracting experiences that match its vibration. When you expect failure, you tune yourself to its frequency, and life faithfully delivers more reasons to expect it. In the quiet corner of his workshop, Vernon discovered this truth through the delicate art of radio repair. Each dial he turned taught him the profound simplicity of universal law. When the frequency matched the broadcast perfectly, crystal clear music filled the room. When it strayed even slightly, static clouded the reception. Strange, he mused one day, how these machines mirror life itself. For Vernon had noticed that on days when his thoughts were clear and optimistic, solutions appeared effortlessly. But when his mind buzzed with doubt, problems multiplied like shadows at dusk. Your own experience operates by these same principles. Each moment, you broadcast a frequency through your thoughts and expectations. The universe, like a cosmic radio receiver, responds with unerring precision to your inner station. When you expect goodness, you naturally tune to its frequency. When you anticipate lack, you align with its wavelength. This understanding transforms confusion into clarity. No longer must you wonder why certain patterns repeat in your life. The power lies in your ability to consciously choose your frequency, to tune the dial of your mind to the station you wish to receive. Ancient practice. As the first light touches the horizon each morning, sit in quiet contemplation. Envision your mind as a precise instrument with a golden dial. Feel it turning gently, smoothly away from static and toward the clear signal of joy. Notice the subtle shift as your inner frequency aligns with fulfillment. Throughout your day, return to this sensation of perfect tuning, maintaining your connection to this higher broadcast. Let your thoughts and expectations resonate with the frequency of abundance, and watch as life responds in kind. Chapter 7. The Alchemy of Gratitude. In every life, unseen forces shape the patterns of experience through the magnetic power of expectation. Yet within these patterns lies a sacred key, the transformative power of gratitude to reshape reality itself. Before Sadie discovered this truth, her days flowed in gray sameness, each morning a mirror of the last. Rising in darkness, shuffling through routines, she felt trapped in cycles of monotony. Until one dawn, something shifted. Perhaps it was exhaustion with her own complaints, or a whisper of ancient wisdom, but as steam rose from her morning coffee, she paused. "Thank you," she whispered to the warm cup between her palms. In that moment, something extraordinary occurred. The world itself seemed to brighten, as if responding to her praise. As you align with universal law, you discover that gratitude is not merely a sentiment, but a force that elevates vibration. Like a tuning fork striking a higher note, authentic appreciation shifts your entire energy field into resonance with abundance. What was mundane becomes miraculous, not because circumstances change, but because perception transforms. Luther, a humble tailor, embodied this truth through his craft. For years he labored without joy until he began blessing each stitch with thankfulness. "This thread connects me to prosperity," he would murmur, his needle dancing through fabric. "This seam strengthens my bond with abundance." Soon his small shop overflowed with customers, drawn by the invisible radiance of his grateful heart. His story reveals that praise multiplies what it acknowledges. When you bless the small things, they expand into greater things. Your appreciation becomes a magnet, drawing more experiences worthy of gratitude. This is not mere coincidence, but cosmic law. The universe responds to the frequency of thankfulness with increased abundance. Ancient practice. As twilight approaches each evening, pause in sacred stillness. Choose 3 ordinary things that usually pass unnoticed. Perhaps the steady rhythm of your breath, the solid ground beneath your feet, or the play of light on your walls. One by one, bless these simple gifts. Feel gratitude radiate from your heart center like golden sunlight, transforming the mundane into the miraculous. Let this practice remind you that appreciation is the hidden key that turns the ordinary into extraordinary, revealing the magic that dwells in every moment. Chapter 8. The Veil of Belief. In the heart of an ancient city dwelt Eleanor, whose hands reached perpetually outward for love, yet found only shadows. Each evening, she would walk through lamplit streets, watching couples pass by, wondering why affection seemed to touch every life but her own. Her solitude felt like a wall, invisible yet impenetrable, keeping warmth at bay. Through these moments of yearning flows a truth as old as time itself. What appears as external absence merely mirrors internal conviction. The world you perceive forms itself around the shape of your deepest beliefs, much as water takes the form of its vessel. When you hold the belief of separation, even in a crowd, isolation becomes your constant companion. This sacred law reveals that belief is not merely a lens through which you view reality. It is the architect of your experience. Each thought you accept as truth becomes a living force, drawing to itself proof of its own validity. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not judge your beliefs as right or wrong. It simply responds with unwavering loyalty to what you hold as real. In a humble workshop across town lived Calvin, whose life taught this principle through the art of bookbinding. Each day, his skilled hands would gather loose chapters, creating spines strong enough to hold stories together through countless readings. Over time, he noticed that the strength of a book's binding determined how well its tale endured. The spine, he would say, is like our deepest convictions. If it bends too easily, the chapters scatter. If it stands too rigid, the book cannot open to new chapters. But when crafted with care and wisdom, it holds the story together while allowing it to unfold naturally. Just as Calvin's bindings gave form to stories, your beliefs give structure to experience. When you believe in lack, even abundance appears as scarcity. When you believe in unworthiness, even love seems beyond reach. Yet when you recognize that these are but temporary bindings, you gain the power to reshape them. The veil that seems to separate you from love is not made of circumstance, but of thought crystallized into belief. As you dissolve these thoughts in the light of awareness, the veil thins until finally it vanishes altogether. Then you discover that love was never truly absent. It was simply waiting for you to recognize its constant presence. Ancient practice. Sit in stillness each morning as the sun rises. When a limiting belief surfaces, a thought of unworthiness, lack, or separation, hold it gently in your awareness. Speak to it as you would to a child who has forgotten their true nature. I release this old story and choose to believe in my inherent wholeness. Feel the shift as each new belief takes root, knowing that as within, so without. Your inner landscape shapes the outer with perfect precision. Chapter 9. The Bridge of Imagination. In a small village among rolling hills lived Ruby, a young woman whose heart yearned to explore distant lands. Each morning, she would gaze at travel magazines in the local shop window, her fingers tracing the glossy images of far-off shores and ancient cities. Yet her modest means kept these dreams forever out of reach, or so she believed. Through the whispers of universal wisdom, you too shall discover what Ruby learned, that imagination is not mere fantasy, but the sacred blueprint from which all material reality emerges. The power to shape your tomorrow lies within the theater of your mind, where every detail painted in thought becomes a magnetic force, drawing its physical counterpart. When Ruby began to close her eyes each evening and walk the streets of Paris in her mind, feeling the cobblestones beneath her feet and tasting fresh croissants on her tongue, something remarkable stirred in the fabric of her reality. With each mental journey, she aligned her vibration with the frequency of her desire, until the very universe conspired to make her dreams tangible. This eternal truth manifests through the story of Dwight, a master carpenter whose hands knew the secret of creation. Before touching wood or hammer, he would first build each house completely in his mind, seeing every beam and joining with crystal clarity. His fellow craftsmen marveled at how his finished works matched his initial sketches with uncanny precision. "The house exists first in thought," he would say. "My hands merely follow the pattern already complete in mind." Just as Dwight's mental blueprints preceded physical construction, your own imaginings lay the foundation for future manifestation. The images you hold in consciousness become the molds into which universal energy flows. This is not idle dreaming, but the active engagement of spiritual law. For what you can vividly imagine, you can surely experience. The universe responds not to what your eyes see, but to what your mind projects. When you immerse yourself fully in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you transmit a signal that the cosmic law must answer. This is the bridge between potential and manifestation, the sacred space where thought transforms into thing. Ancient practice. The dream room ritual. As you prepare for sleep each night, create a sacred space in your mind, your personal dream room. Here, step fully into the scene of your desire fulfilled. Feel the textures, hear the sounds, breathe in the atmosphere of accomplishment. Let every cell of your being resonate with the joy of attainment. Smile gently, knowing that as you drift into slumber in this state of completion, the universal law works through the night to align tomorrow with your vision. Sleep not in want, but in the warm satisfaction of dreams already realized. Chapter 10. The Still Point. In the bustling heart of a thriving marketplace, Hattie stood amidst her stall of hand-woven textiles, her mind racing with endless schemes and strategies. Each day brought new plans, new goals, new methods to attract success. She studied every manifestation technique, recited countless affirmations, and visualized her desires with fierce intensity. Yet prosperity remained elusive, slipping through her grasp like water through cupped hands. The universe speaks in whispers, and its greatest teachings often arrive in moments of exhaustion. One afternoon, overwhelmed by the weight of her striving, Hattie simply stopped. In that sacred pause, when her mind finally grew still, something extraordinary occurred. The very abundance she had chased so relentlessly began flowing naturally into her life. This truth echoes through the ages. Creation operates through you, not by you. The force that turns planets and blooms flowers requires no effort, no strain, no desperate reaching. It moves with perfect precision when we step out of its way. Consider Otis, whose story mirrors this wisdom. As a train operator, he spent years believing his tight grip on the controls ensured the smoothest journey. Yet one day, after decades of service, he discovered a profound truth. The tracks themselves knew the way. When he relaxed his grip and trusted the engineering beneath him, his journeys became effortless symphonies of motion. The law of attraction responds not to force, but to frequency. When you release the need to control every detail, you align with the natural current of manifestation. This is not passive resignation, but active surrender, a state of alert receptivity where your energy harmonizes with universal flow. Just as a river doesn't strain to reach the ocean, Your desires need not be forced into being. The power that orchestrates galaxies knows precisely how to bring your dreams to fruition. Your role is not to make it happen, but to allow it to happen through you. Ancient practice, the pause of power. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Let your breath flow naturally, without attempting to control it. Notice how your body breathes itself perfectly, without your conscious direction. Allow thoughts to arise and pass without engaging them. Feel the sensation of simply being, not doing, not planning, not trying. Rest in this space of pure awareness for at least 7 minutes. As thoughts of goals or desires arise, acknowledge them gently and return to the sensation of presence. Feel how the universe continues its perfect operation without your effort. This state of alert receptivity is the fertile soil from which all manifestation springs. Practice this pause daily, preferably at dawn or dusk, when the veil between effort and ease grows thin. Through consistent practice, you'll discover that creation flows most powerfully, not through striving, but through sublime surrender to the wisdom that already knows the way. Part 2, The Craft of Reality Shaping. Chapter 11, The Law of Correspondence. In a small village among rolling hills, Pearl lived each day puzzled by the echoes of her existence. No matter how she adjusted her outer circumstances, certain patterns persisted. Difficult conversations with neighbors, unexpected expenses, or moments of loneliness. These experiences seemed to follow her like shadows, unchanging despite her efforts to outrun them. One misty morning, as she watched dewdrops collect on spider webs, each droplet holding a perfect reflection of the world around it, understanding dawned within her heart. The challenges she faced weren't random occurrences, but mirrors, each reflecting something within her own consciousness. When anxiety churned within, her day filled with rushed moments and missed connections. When peace flowed through her being, even busy marketplace encounters unfolded with surprising grace. She began to witness how her inner state painted the canvas of her outer world with unfailing precision. This truth stands eternal. The outer world reflects the inner with mathematical accuracy. Your circumstances mirror your consciousness. Your experiences echo your expectations, and your reality reflects your deepest beliefs. The law of reflection operates with unwavering fidelity, showing you precisely what you hold within. Floyd, a mirror polisher in the town square, discovered this same principle through his craft. Each morning, he noticed how the quality of his reflections depended not on his technique alone, but on his willingness to first clear his own vision. When frustration clouded his mind, smudges seemed to multiply on the mirror's surface. Yet when he worked with clarity and presence, even the most stubborn marks yielded easily to his cloth. "The mirror only shows what stands before it," he would say, "but our eyes see through the lens of our hearts." Floyd learned that to create perfect reflections, he must first polish away his own mental fingerprints, the judgments, assumptions, and resistances that clouded his perception. This wisdom illuminates a fundamental truth. Outer harmony begins with inner clarity. Just as a lake must be still to reflect the stars perfectly, your consciousness must be clear to manifest your purest desires. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you are being. The world you perceive is not separate from the consciousness perceiving it. Every person, circumstance, and experience in your life reflects some aspect of your inner state. This is not a burden of responsibility, but a gift of incredible power. For if your outer world reflects your inner state, then changing your inner world holds the key to transforming your entire experience. Ancient practice. The mirror of awareness. As you move through each day, treat every experience as a message from the universe about your inner state. When disturbance appears in your outer world, pause and turn your attention inward. Ask yourself, what within me is this situation reflecting? Where in my consciousness might this pattern originate? What emotion or belief needs acknowledgement and release? Breathe deeply into any resistance or discomfort you discover. Like wiping clean a misty mirror, let your breath clear away judgment and fear. Feel forgiveness flowing through you, dissolving old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve your highest good. Watch how this inner cleansing naturally ripples outward, transforming your external experience without effort or force. Trust that as you maintain clear awareness within, harmony will inevitably manifest without. This practice reveals the perfect order underlying all experience, not as a concept to believe, but as a living truth to witness in every moment of your unfolding life. Chapter 12. The Language of Desire. In a small village known for its modest means, Bessie spent her days yearning for abundance while speaking constantly of lack. If only I had enough, she would whisper to herself, unaware that these very words wove the fabric of her experience. Her cupboards remained sparse, her purse light, as her thoughts of scarcity echoed through the chambers of her life. Through years of seeking prosperity, she had unknowingly mastered the art of repelling it. Her words carried the weight of want rather than the lightness of having. I need, I wish, if only. These phrases formed the foundation of her reality, building walls between her and the very abundance she sought. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds not to the object of our desires, but to the energy with which we speak of them. When you utter words of lack, the law of correspondence ensures that lack becomes your steady companion. This principle, ancient as the stars themselves, operates with unwavering precision. Your outer world must mirror your inner dialogue. Ralph, a baker in the same village, discovered this truth through the simple act of creating bread. Where once he approached each loaf with anxiety about its outcome, he learned to bless his ingredients with certainty. Before mixing the dough, he would touch each measure of flour and whisper, "You are already perfect." To the yeast, he spoke of its power to rise magnificently. Rather than hoping for good results, he thanked the oven for the golden crust it had already created. As his certainty grew, so did the quality of his creations. Customers began speaking of a peculiar sweetness in his bread, and richness that seemed to nourish more than the body alone. Ralph had discovered that success rises not from the ingredients themselves, but from the consciousness that shapes them. The power of manifestation flows through the channel of your words. When you speak from a place of having rather than wanting, you align with the frequency of fulfillment. This is not mere positive thinking, but rather a fundamental law of energy. Like attracts like, and certainty attracts its own reflection. Ancient practice of vibrational alignment. Stand before your mirror each morning and speak of your desires as accomplished facts. Rather than saying, "I want prosperity," declare, "I am prosperous." Instead of, "I hope to find love," state, "I am loved deeply." Feel each statement resonate in your chest as truth already manifested. Continue this practice until your words naturally flow from abundance rather than scarcity, and watch as your outer world begins to mirror this inner certainty. Chapter 13. The Light of Emotion. In a small village among gentle hills, Clara stood before her mirror each morning, dutifully repeating affirmations she had collected from various sources. "I am abundant, I am successful, I am loved." Yet her words fell flat, echoing off the walls like empty vessels, returning nothing but hollow silence. Day after day she spoke these phrases mechanically, wondering why the promised transformation remained elusive. The universe whispers its wisdom through the simplest of moments. For Clara, revelation came through her garden, where she noticed that seeds sprouted not merely because she placed them in soil, but because she tended them with genuine care and anticipation. Her joy in their growth was as essential as the water she provided. Within this truth lies the ancient understanding. Words alone are like seeds scattered on barren ground. It is emotion that enriches the soil, making it fertile for manifestation. Your declarations to the universe must carry the current of genuine feeling, for feeling is the power that brings thought into form. As you speak your truth into existence, let each word arise from the depths of your heart rather than the surface of your mind. When you declare, "I am abundant," feel the warmth of gratitude spread through your chest. When you affirm, "I am successful," let pride and satisfaction fill your being. When you state, "I am loved," allow your heart to expand with the actual sensation of being embraced by universal love. Ernest, whose steady hands restored light to darkened homes, understood this principle through his craft. Each day in his workshop he witnessed how lamps remained lifeless until electrical current flowed freely through their circuits. No matter how perfect the bulb, how polished the brass, or how clean the glass, without the power of electricity, darkness prevailed. One afternoon, while repairing an antique lamp, Ernest realized that human beings operate by the same principle. Our words and intentions are like perfectly constructed lamps. They hold the potential for brilliant illumination, yet they remain dark until we allow the current of genuine emotion to flow through them. "See here," he would explain to his apprentices, "how the lamp only glows when power flows unobstructed. This is the way of all creation. The emotion you feel is your power source. Let it flow freely and your words will light up the universe." Through their experiences, both Clara and Ernest unveil a fundamental truth. Manifestation requires the marriage of word and feeling. Your declarations must be charged with the electricity of emotion to illuminate the path from thought to reality. Sacred practice. Sit quietly in a space where you feel safe and undisturbed. Allow whatever emotion is present to surface without judgment. Whether joy or sorrow visits you, welcome it as a guest bearing gifts of energy. Breathe deeply into any resistance you feel, allowing your breath to soften its edges. As you continue breathing, imagine each emotion as pure energy being transformed into light within your heart. Let this light infuse your words with power as you speak your truth to the universe. Practice this daily, understanding that every feeling carries the potential to fuel your manifestations when embraced with love and acceptance. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Spiral of Growth. In the heart of an ancient marketplace, Irene moved through her daily routines with growing frustration. Each morning brought familiar challenges, each sunset closed on unresolved patterns. Again, she would whisper, as relationships followed well-worn paths of misunderstanding and opportunities seemed to dance just beyond her reach. The universe speaks through patterns, and in these recurring themes lies a sacred truth. What appears as repetition is actually ascension, like a spiral staircase where each turn brings you higher while passing the same view. Life's recurring situations carry you upward through deeper layers of understanding. You may notice certain themes appearing repeatedly in your journey, perhaps in relationships, work, or personal growth. These are not signs of stagnation, but invitations to master each lesson more fully. With each pass through a familiar challenge, you stand at a higher vantage point, capable of seeing nuances that were invisible before. Stanley discovered this wisdom in his pottery workshop, where his hands shaped clay day after day. At first, he saw only monotony in the wheel's endless turning. But as his awareness deepened, he recognized that each rotation brought greater refinement to his craft. The same motion that once produced simple bowls now created vessels of extraordinary beauty. The wheel had not changed. His consciousness had expanded. This principle reveals itself in all of life's domains. What seems like repeated circumstances are actually spiraling opportunities for deeper mastery. The relationship pattern that once left you feeling victimized now offers chances to express boundaries with greater clarity. The financial challenge that once triggered scarcity now invites you to embrace abundance from a place of wisdom. When you encounter familiar situations, resist the temptation to label them as stuck or again. Instead, ask yourself, what new level of understanding does this moment offer? What aspect of mastery awaits my discovery? Feel how each turn of the spiral carries you higher, even as you pass through familiar territory. Ancient practice. When you notice a situation repeating in your life, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, I welcome this spiral of growth. Allow yourself to feel lifted by understanding rather than weighted by impatience. Ask quietly, what deeper wisdom seeks expression through this moment? Then listen with your entire being for the subtle answer that emerges. Chapter 15. The Sphere of Allowance. Along a winding path through an ancient grove, Nora carried the weight of her ambitions like stones in a basket. Each day she pushed, planned, and pressed against life's current, believing that force alone would yield her desires. Yet with every straining step, her goals seemed to retreat like shadows at noon, until the day exhaustion brought her to her knees. In that moment of surrender, a profound wisdom emerged from the depths of her being. The universe operates with an intelligence far beyond human orchestration. Your role is not to force the river's flow, but to align with its natural course. This is the sacred art of allowing, not passive resignation, but active trust in the divine order of creation. When you release the grip of control, you enter the stream of infinite intelligence. Here, manifestation unfolds not through strain, but through alignment. Your task is simply to maintain the vibration of your desire while allowing the universe to arrange the perfect circumstances for its expression. Warren, whose gentle hands tended to countless beehives, understood this truth intimately. He noticed that honey flowed most abundantly when he approached the hives with quiet presence, allowing the bees to work in their own perfect rhythm. Any attempt to hurry or force the process would only disturb the delicate balance of the colony. "The bees know their purpose," he would say, watching golden light filter through glass jars of fresh honey. "My role is to create space for their wisdom to unfold." This simple observation contains a universal principle. Nature's intelligence operates with flawless precision when unimpeded by human anxiety. The flowers do not strain to bloom. The stars do not force their light. All of creation flows from a state of allowing. You are not separate from this intelligence. Your desires are seeds planted in the fertile soil of infinite potential. Trust that the same force that turns planets and orchestrates ecosystems is working tirelessly to bring your dreams to fruition. Your work is to remain in the vibration of trust, knowing that what is meant for you cannot miss you. Release the need to manipulate every detail. Surrender the illusion of control. Feel how much lighter you become when you allow life to surprise you with its perfect timing and unexpected gifts. This is not abandoning responsibility, but embracing a higher order of creation. Practice. Each morning, identify one area of your life where you've been forcing outcomes. Consciously loosen your grip on that situation. Breathe deeply and affirm, "I trust the perfect unfolding of this experience." Throughout your day, notice how events naturally align when you step back from controlling them. Let small miracles reveal themselves in the spaces where you've released resistance. Record these moments of grace as testimony to the power of allowing. Chapter 16. The Pulse of Giving. In a humble dwelling at the edge of town lived Edna, whose heart yearned for love, yet whose hands held tight to every morsel of affection. She measured each smile, counted every kind word, and carefully rationed her warmth, believing that by preserving what little she had, more would somehow accumulate. Yet with each passing season, her spirit grew leaner, and the love she so desperately sought remained elusive. The universe whispers an eternal truth. Abundance flows not through retention, but through circulation. Just as blood must move freely through the heart to sustain life, so must love and wealth move through your experience to multiply. When you grasp at prosperity, you unknowingly construct the very barriers that block its natural expansion. Within this sacred law lies a profound paradox. That which you freely give creates the channel through which more shall return. Not as cosmic reward, but as the natural consequence of aligning with life's expansive nature. Your generosity becomes the very breath of abundance, creating space for fresh blessings to enter. Marvin, who played trumpet in the town square, discovered this truth through his music. In his early days, he would carefully conserve his breath, playing cautiously and measuring each note. His melodies, though technically correct, lacked vitality. One evening, swept up in unexpected joy, he released his careful control and played with abandoned delight. The music soared, rich and full, touching hearts and drawing crowds. In that moment of giving fully, he found his cup continuously refilled. His experience mirrors the greater principle at work in all aspects of life, that joy shared multiplies, while joy hoarded diminishes. When you release your grip on what you desire, you create the very current that carries more to you. This is not mere theory, but a living law as reliable as gravity. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the vibration of your being. When you exist in a state of generous expression, you activate the natural flow of prosperity. Your very existence becomes a channel through which abundance moves freely, touching all in its path and returning multiplied. This principle extends beyond material wealth into every domain of experience. Love, wisdom, opportunity, all obey this sacred law of circulation. The more freely you allow these energies to flow through you, the more abundantly they manifest in your life. Your practice. As the sun rises each morning, set forth with open hands and an expansive heart. Offer 3 acts of spontaneous kindness without seeking recognition or return. With each gesture, sense your heart's rhythm expanding into the greater symphony of universal abundance. Feel yourself becoming a willing instrument through which prosperity flows, knowing that in your giving, you align with the infinite current of good that sustains all life. Chapter 17. The Power of Decision. Long ago, there lived a woman named Fay who dwelled in perpetual hesitation. Each morning, she would stand before her wardrobe, frozen between choices until the sun climbed high in the sky. At mealtimes, she wavered between dishes until her food grew cold. When opportunities knocked, she remained motionless behind closed doors, weighing endless possibilities until chance had passed her by. The universe speaks in the language of decision. Every moment of creation begins with a choice, a single point where potential crystallizes into form. Your thoughts scatter like seeds in the wind until the moment you plant one firmly in the soil of conviction. It is then that the universal forces begin their dance of manifestation. Indecision is not wisdom. It is the dispersal of power. When you stand at the crossroads of choice, wavering between paths, you split your creative energy into fragments too weak to generate change. The universe responds not to what you wish, but to what you choose with unwavering clarity. Consider how the master painters do not hesitate before their canvas, knowing each stroke shapes the whole. They understand that a decisive mark, even if imperfect, holds more power than 1,000 tentative touches. Your life is such a canvas, and your choices are the brush strokes that bring your vision into being. In the ancient city of stone lived Leon, a sculptor renowned for his masterpieces. While others chipped timidly at their marble, he approached each block with absolute certainty. The first strike, he would say, must carry the weight of your entire vision. With one decisive blow, he would split the stone precisely, and in that moment of commitment, the figure within would begin to emerge. Those who watched him work spoke of how the marble seemed to yield willingly to his chisel, as if recognizing the authority of his decisive touch. The truth revealed through Leon's art transcends the sculptor's studio. It speaks to the very nature of creation. When you move through life with clear intent, reality itself becomes as malleable as soft clay. Doubt fractures this power, creating hairline cracks in the foundation of your manifestations. But certainty is the chisel that carves destiny. Ancient practice. Select one feeling state you wish to embody, perhaps abundance, peace, or joy. Make this choice with complete conviction, allowing no shadow of doubt to dim its clarity. For the remainder of this day, become a living embodiment of this chosen vibration. Walk as though you are its ambassador in the world. Speak its language. Breathe its essence. Watch as the universe, recognizing the authority of your decision, begins to reshape circumstances to match your chosen frequency. Chapter 18. The Field of Unity. A merchant named Agnes arrived in a prosperous town, opening her small shop among established businesses. Each morning she watched customers stream into neighboring stores while hers remained quiet. Bitterness grew in her heart as she counted others' successes against her struggles. She placed her wares strategically to compete, marked down prices desperately, yet prosperity eluded her grasp. Within you lies the same wisdom Agnes would soon discover, that success flows not from separation, but from unity. The universal law reveals that consciousness exists as one unified field, like an infinite ocean where each wave affects the whole. Your thoughts and emotions ripple through this field, touching all of creation. When you perceive yourself as isolated, striving against the world, you resist the natural current of abundance. Competition arises from the illusion of scarcity, yet the universe operates through unlimited expansion. Every achievement in your environment contributes to the rising tide that lifts all boats. Your neighbor's joy becomes your joy, their victory your victory, for you share the same consciousness. Consider Wilbur, who tended his fields in isolation until drought threatened the region. In desperation, the farmers gathered to share resources and knowledge. As they supported each other, the entire valley flourished beyond previous harvests. The soil itself seemed to respond to their unity, producing abundance that no single farm could have generated alone. This truth extends beyond material success. Every kind thought, every celebration of another's good fortune, every moment of genuine appreciation for others' achievements strengthens the field of positive vibration in which you exist. When you bless another's success, you align with the frequency of prosperity. When you rejoice in their joy, you tune yourself to receive greater joy. The universe knows no separation. The same life force flows through all beings. The same consciousness experiences through all forms. Your apparent boundaries dissolve in this deeper understanding. Success is not a finite resource to be divided, but an infinite expression seeking channels for its flow. Ancient practice of unity. Find a quiet space each morning. Close your eyes and bring to mind someone who has recently experienced success or joy. Feel their achievement as if it were your own, allowing their victory to resonate in your heart. Sense the artificial boundaries between you dissolving into the one field of consciousness you share. Let their prosperity become a beacon, illuminating greater possibilities for all. In this practice of unity, limitations fall away, and abundance flows naturally to all who recognize their essential oneness. Chapter 19. The Ladder of Vision. In a small mountain village, a weaver named Martha sat at her loom, her fingers trembling with uncertainty. Each thread she wove seemed to mock her efforts, tangling with her doubts rather than forming the masterpiece she envisioned. Night after night, she questioned her path, measuring her worth against the apparent success of others. Yet, within the depths of her despair, something extraordinary began to unfold. As she closed her eyes in meditation one evening, her consciousness lifted above the valley of her concerns. From this elevated vantage point, she witnessed how each setback had strengthened her craft, how each moment of questioning had refined her artistry. The temporary nature of her struggles revealed itself against the tapestry of her greater purpose. This truth echoes through the ages. Your current circumstances are but threads in a greater weaving. When you rise above immediate concerns, patterns emerge that remain invisible from ground level. Your challenges transform into stepping stones, your doubts into foundations for deeper understanding. Consider Clyde, who tended a lighthouse on storm-battered cliffs. While waves crashed and winds howled, he maintained his lamp's unwavering beam. Ships in distress found safe harbor guided by his steadfast light. Through decades of service, he learned that his purpose transcended the tempests below. From his elevated position, storms appeared as passing clouds beneath the eternal stars. The lighthouse keeper's wisdom illuminates a profound truth. Your perspective determines your power. When you maintain the altitude of higher awareness, external turbulence cannot shake your inner certainty. Like Clyde's beacon cutting through darkness, your elevated consciousness pierces through temporary shadows of doubt. This ancient law governs all manifestation. As above, so below. Your higher vision orders and arranges lower circumstances. When you hold steady in the watchtower of expanded awareness, life's events naturally align with your elevated vibration. The practice of elevated sight. Find a quiet space and settle into comfortable stillness. Close your eyes and imagine rising above your current situation, as if floating gently upward. From this height, observe your circumstances with serene detachment. Notice how challenges that seemed overwhelming now appear manageable, like distant clouds far below. Breathe deeply and allow gratitude to anchor you in this expanded awareness. Feel how solutions naturally emerge from this clarity of perspective. Maintain this elevated consciousness as you open your eyes, carrying its poise into your daily activities. Return to this practice whenever earthly concerns threaten to disturb your peace. Through this discipline of lifted vision, you'll discover that circumstances bow to the authority of your higher awareness. Like the lighthouse keeper's steady beam, your unwavering consciousness will guide all things into harmony with your true purpose. Chapter 20. The Symphony of Action. In a sunlit workshop among ancient oaks, Esther practiced affirmations daily, certain her thoughts alone would manifest her desires. She filled notebooks with detailed visualizations and repeated powerful declarations, yet her dreams remained suspended in the ethereal realm of possibility rather than taking root in the soil of the present. Through the whispers of her heart, a deeper wisdom emerged. Each morning, subtle promptings would arise, a gentle urge to walk a different path, to speak to a stranger, to visit an unfamiliar place. At first, she dismissed these quiet nudges, believing her mental work sufficient. But as weeks passed without tangible change, she began to understand that thought seeks expression through inspired movement. Like a stream finding its natural course, creativity flows not just through contemplation, but through the willing hands that shape its form. The universal force speaks in the language of intuitive impulse, guiding those who listen toward actions that complete the circuit of manifestation. Howard, a master violin maker, spent years perfecting his craft in a modest workshop. While each instrument began as a pristine vision in his mind, he discovered that the true magic emerged only when his hands joined in partnership with imagination. The finest blueprints remained mere potential until brought to life through the patient shaping of wood, the precise tensioning of strings, the careful application of varnish. Each action, guided by inner knowing, transformed mere materials into vessels of song. The wood knows what it wishes to become, Howard would say, his weathered hands moving in harmony with each piece. My task is not to force, but to follow, to let my actions dance with the grain until music emerges. His story illuminates a vital truth. Manifestation requires the marriage of vision and movement. When thought aligns with inspired action, we become instruments through which the universe expresses its infinite creativity. Every intuitive step, no matter how small, carries the power to transform potential into reality. Sacred practice. Throughout your day, attune yourself to the subtle promptings that arise within. When you sense a light, joyful impulse to act, follow it with childlike trust. These gentle nudges are the universe's choreography, guiding you to move in harmony with your highest good. Do not analyze or question. Simply flow with the rhythm of inspired action, knowing each step completes the circle of creation. Part 3. The Mastery of the Living Word. Chapter 21. The Temple of Awareness. In the bustling heart of a city, Loren spent his days surrounded by an endless stream of voices, opinions, and demands. Like many, he allowed every passing thought to take residence in his mind, until the sacred chamber of his consciousness became crowded with others' fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs. One morning, as the familiar chaos threatened to overwhelm him, he paused by an ancient stone fountain. Its waters, though surrounded by city clamor, maintained pristine clarity. In that moment he understood. His mind, like the fountain, could remain pure, regardless of external turbulence. The universal law reveals that awareness stands as sentinel at the threshold of consciousness. Each thought-seeking entry carries a vibration that either elevates or diminishes your creative power. When you recognize your divine right to choose which energies may dwell within, you reclaim the throne of your inner kingdom. Just as a master gardener selects only the finest seeds, allowing your mind to harbor only thoughts aligned with peace and possibility ensures a harvest of harmonious circumstances. The noise of the world may continue its dance, but you need not invite every melody to play within your sacred space. In a small chapel at the edge of town, Iola tended to rows of ceremonial candles. Each morning, she would carefully trim the wicks and remove any debris that might dim their radiance. A clouded flame casts uncertain shadows, she would muse, understanding that each candle represented the light of consciousness itself. Through years of devotion to her task, Iola discovered that maintaining the purity of light required constant vigilance. When dust or debris accumulated, the flame's brilliance diminished, just as cluttered thoughts cloud the mind's natural luminosity. Yet with gentle attention, each flame could be restored to its original clarity, burning bright and true. Her dedication to these living lights revealed an eternal truth. Consciousness, like flame, thrives on clarity. When we tend the sacred fire of awareness with care and discernment, Its light naturally illuminates the path of manifestation before us. This ancient wisdom whispers still, "Your mind is holy ground, a temple where thoughts become things." Each moment offers a choice: to allow random energies to scatter your power, or to stand as conscious guardian of your inner sanctuary. Sacred practice. As thoughts approach the gateway of your awareness, welcome each one with gentle acknowledgement. Like a wise sovereign greeting visitors at the palace gates, discern which ones merit permanent residence in your inner kingdom. Those bearing gifts of peace, wisdom, and joy may enter and dwell. Those carrying discord may be blessed and released to continue their journey elsewhere. Through this sacred attention, feel your mind become a radiant chamber where only the highest vibrations gather, creating a pure vessel for divine expression. Chapter 22. The Frequency of Forgiveness. Within a quiet valley among ancient hills lived Beatrice, whose heart had grown heavy with memories of past hurts. Each morning she would water her garden, yet the flowers seemed dim, their colors muted by the shadow of her pain. Like a dark cloud hovering over her days, resentment had become her constant companion, coloring every experience with its somber hues. Everywhere she turned, life seemed to mirror back her inner turmoil. Kind gestures from neighbors felt hollow. Opportunities passed her by, and even the songbirds appeared to sing in minor keys. Yet in this pattern lay a truth waiting to be unveiled, a wisdom as old as time itself. The universe speaks in the language of energy. When we hold tight to past wounds, we emit a frequency that attracts similar experiences, creating an endless cycle of confirmation. Each grievance we nurse becomes a magnet, drawing more reasons to justify our pain. This is not punishment, but simply the law of resonance at work. One morning, as Beatrice sat in her garden, something shifted. Perhaps it was the way the sun caught a dewdrop, or how the wind whispered through the leaves, but suddenly she saw with perfect clarity how her resentment had become a prison of her own making. In that moment of recognition, she simply let go. The effect was immediate and profound. It was as if a weight she hadn't known she carried had lifted from her shoulders. The colors of her garden seemed to brighten. The air felt lighter, and her breath came easier. She had discovered what mystics have known for ages, that forgiveness is not a gift we give others, but a key that unlocks our own chains. In the same village lived Morris, an elderly piano tuner known for his extraordinary ability to restore harmony to discordant instruments. His wisdom came not just from years of working with pianos, but from understanding the deeper parallels between music and life. "You see," he would explain to those who brought him their out-of-tune pianos, "each string must be completely relaxed before it can be properly tuned. Fighting against the tension only creates more discord." His gentle hands would demonstrate this truth, showing how forcing a string never achieved the desired note, while patient, careful release always restored perfect pitch. The wisdom in Morris's work reflects a universal principle. Harmony cannot be forced. It must be allowed to emerge through release. Just as a piano string must be freed from incorrect tension before it can sing its true note, our hearts must be released from old hurts before they can resonate with life's natural joy. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Imagine your heart as a beautiful instrument with many strings. Each string represents a relationship or experience that still carries hurt. One by one, envision yourself gently releasing the tension in each string, just as a master piano tuner would. As you do this, feel the vibration of your being shifting, becoming clearer, truer. Continue until you sense an inner harmony emerging, the natural state of your heart when freed from the weight of past pain. Let this new resonance fill you completely, knowing that as you maintain this frequency, life will reflect back its sweet melody. Chapter 23. The Crown of Perspective. In a small town where time seemed to move at its own peculiar pace, Florence sat among dusty photographs and faded letters, counting the moments she believed had slipped away forever. Each morning she would gaze at opportunities apparently lost, the career path not taken, the romance that withered, the dreams set aside. Her heart carried the weight of these phantom futures until the day wisdom touched her spirit with golden understanding. Through a shift in consciousness as gentle as dawn, Florence began perceiving the invisible threads that connected all events in her life. What had seemed like missed chances revealed themselves as perfectly orchestrated stepping stones. The job she hadn't received guided her toward more fulfilling work. The relationship that ended protected her from paths misaligned with her highest good. Each apparent loss contained within it a sacred gift of redirection. The law reveals that time moves not in linear progression, but in spirals of divine purpose. What appears as delay or denial in one moment often serves as protection or preparation for greater good. Your life unfolds not by chance, but through precise spiritual mechanics, each moment calibrated to your highest evolution. In his quiet workshop at the edge of town, George crafted and repaired timepieces with reverent attention. One day, as he examined an intricate pocket watch, divine insight illuminated his understanding. He noticed how each gear's rotation, no matter how delayed it might seem, contributed essential motion to the whole. Some wheels turned slowly, others swiftly, yet all moved in perfect coordination to mark time's flow. The watch cannot keep proper time if even one gear rushes ahead or lags behind, George would say, his eyes twinkling with the light of one who has glimpsed universal truth. Each component must honor its own rhythm within the greater design. This simple observation unveiled the profound synchronicity governing all life. Just as every gear in George's watches moved according to precise timing, every circumstance in your life arrives according to divine orchestration. What might appear as delays or detours often serve as crucial calibration for future blessings. The universe operates through flawless timing, weaving each moment into a tapestry of purpose. When you align with this truth, resistance dissolves into acceptance, and anxiety transforms into peaceful anticipation. Every experience arrives precisely when needed for your growth and good. Practice. When impatience stirs within your heart, pause and breathe deeply. Close your eyes and imagine rising above your timeline like a bird soaring over a vast landscape. From this elevated perspective, observe how each moment connects to create a pattern of perfect unfolding. Feel your trust deepen as you recognize the larger design at work. Rest in the serene knowing that divine timing guides your path with impeccable precision. Chapter 24. The Fountain of Joy. Once there lived a woman named Vera, who measured her happiness against external conditions. Each morning, she would scan her circumstances like a merchant taking inventory, searching for sufficient reasons to justify joy. If her garden bloomed, she allowed herself to smile. If rain fell, she withheld her light. Her happiness hung suspended by the fragile threads of circumstance. Until one dawn, as she sat beside her window waiting for the sun to grant her permission to be glad, wisdom whispered to her heart, "Joy needs no reason to shine." In that moment, she understood that she had reversed the natural order. Joy was not a reward to be earned, but a light to be uncovered from within. The truth reveals itself. Happiness is the primal force of creation, not its end result. When you wait for circumstances to authorize your joy, you bind your power to conditions outside yourself. Yet the universe operates in reverse of human logic. Joy is the magnet that draws its reflections, not the prize awarded after they arrive. In a small town square, there worked an ice cream vendor named Harvey, who grasped this secret through simple experience. While other vendors closed their carts when storms gathered, Harvey continued serving ice cream with an unshakable smile, even in the rain. To everyone's amazement, his sales doubled during downpours. Children were drawn to his infectious laughter that seemed to make even gray skies sparkle. His joy was not a response to success. It was the magnet that attracted it. Here lies the deeper teaching. Happiness is not a reaction, but a creative force. When you choose joy before there appears any rational basis for it, you activate the highest law of manifestation. Your gladness becomes the gravitational field that draws its matching circumstances into form. Think of joy as the sun that needs no permission to shine. It does not wait for clouds to part. Its nature is to radiate regardless of conditions. When you align with this truth, you step into your power as a creator, rather than remaining a reactor to life's changing weather. The universe mirrors back to you the frequency you offer it. When you make your happiness dependent on external triggers, you place yourself in a perpetual state of waiting. But when you claim joy as your natural state, independent of outer circumstances, you reverse the flow. Now life must rush to match your inner light. Practice the ancient smile of being. Each morning as you wake before thought begins its familiar catalogue of concerns, let your lips curve into a gentle smile. This is not a smile because of anything. It is the smile of pure being. As you move through your day, carry this causeless joy as your constant companion. Walk as though you are sunshine given legs, brightening each space you enter, not because conditions warrant it, but because radiance is your true nature. Trust that your joy is magnetic, drawing to itself all manner of delight, even while circumstances seem to suggest otherwise. In this way, you become a living demonstration of joy's creative power. Let your happiness be as natural and unreasoned as a flower's blooming. The flower does not justify its beauty. It simply expresses its nature. In the same way, allow your joy to flow from the simple fact of your existence, trusting that gladness will summon its own reflections in the mirror of life. Chapter 25. The Radiance of Confidence. In a small town by the sea, May spent her days second-guessing every choice, believing that uncertainty was a sign of wisdom. Each morning she would write lists of pros and cons, seeking validation from friends and strangers alike, until exhaustion became her constant companion. Her paintings remained half-finished, her garden partially planted, her dreams suspended in the mist of doubt. The truth that transformed May's existence emerged not from acquiring more knowledge, but from a profound surrender into the arms of inner knowing. One dawn, as she watched the sun rise without questioning its right to shine, understanding dawned within her heart. Confidence was not an achievement to be earned, but a birthright to be remembered. Your relationship with certainty mirrors May's journey. The universe does not hesitate in its expansion. The flowers do not question their blooming, and the stars never doubt their light. This hesitation you feel is not protection, but a veil between you and your natural state of being. True confidence flows not from external validation, but from alignment with the universal current that knows your worth without condition. Franklin, working late in his modest workshop, repeatedly failed to perfect his invention until he realized his doubt was interfering with the natural flow of inspiration. His breakthrough came not from trying harder, but from relaxing into the knowing that creation itself had already approved his vision. The moment he trusted this truth, solutions appeared with elegant simplicity. This reveals the subtle law. Confidence is not self-assertion, but self-allowance. It is the gentle recognition that you are already part of the infinite stream of life, authorized by existence itself to express your unique note in the cosmic symphony. When you trust yourself, you trust the universe that created you. When you honor your intuition, you honor the wisdom that flows through all things. Your doubt has been a faithful guardian, attempting to protect you from disappointment. Thank it for its service, then release it with love. Replace the habit of uncertainty with the practice of presence. Feel how the air fills your lungs without effort, how your heart beats without instruction, how thoughts arise without struggle. This is the same intelligence that guides galaxies, and it flows through you with equal grace. Trust begins in the smallest moments, in choosing a meal without polling others, in speaking your truth without rehearsal, in moving forward without guaranteed outcomes. Each act of self-trust strengthens your connection to the universal current of confidence that has always been your inheritance. Sacred practice. Stand gently. Breathe tall. Remember that life acts through you effortlessly, and feel assurance ignite as steady flame guiding your steps. Chapter 26. The Paradox of Service. In a quiet village among rolling hills, Ida pursued recognition with relentless determination. Each morning she polished her achievements like precious metals, displaying them prominently for all to admire. Yet the more she chased acclaim, the more it seemed to slip through her fingers like water. The universal law whispers an eternal truth. Authentic power flows not from self-promotion, but from the quiet channel of service. When you release the need to be seen as extraordinary, your natural radiance emerges untarnished by ego's shadow. True confidence springs from alignment with the infinite source that expresses through you. Your talents and abilities are not personal possessions to hoard or showcase, but sacred gifts entrusted to you for the elevation of all. As you direct your focus away from self-aggrandizement toward genuine service, you tap into a wellspring of energy far greater than individual effort. This is the paradox of spiritual mastery. In releasing the need to prove your worth, you discover your inherent magnificence. Along the misty shores of a harbor town, Reuben piloted his ferry day after day, at first viewing his work as merely transporting passengers across the water. But as his awareness deepened, He recognized that each crossing carried profound meaning. When he focused solely on delivering others safely to their destination, his own journey became infused with purpose and peace. The waters seemed to cooperate, the vessel moved with greater grace, and even stormy days held no fear. His story illuminates the principle that service is not a diminishment, but an expansion of self. In giving ourselves fully to uplifting others, we transcend the limited identity of the ego and merge with the infinite current of divine love. This is true confidence, not the brittle shell of self-importance, but the unshakable knowing that you are a vessel for universal good. Ancient practice. As the sun rises tomorrow, offer your unique gifts in service without seeking credit or praise. Let your actions flow from pure intention to uplift others. Notice how giving from this space creates an endless circle. The more you offer, the more energy flows through you. Feel the boundaries of separate self dissolving as you become a clear channel for Source to touch the world through your hands, your voice, your presence. Trust that in serving others, you serve your own highest unfolding. Chapter 27. The Echo of Faith. In a modest dwelling at the edge of town, Luella sat before her window each morning, searching the horizon for signs her dreams were approaching. Day after day she marked her journal with no progress, until the chapters grew heavy with disappointment. Her shoulders bent under invisible weight as weeks turned to months without visible change. The universe operates through precise laws of manifestation, yet its most potent work occurs beneath the surface of immediate perception. Like a seed germinating in dark soil, your desired reality takes form in the unseen realm before emerging into physical expression. Luella's transformation began when she discovered an old chest of her grandmother's letters. Each page spoke of unwavering faith during times of uncertainty. "I cannot see the way," one letter read, "but I feel its certainty in my bones." These words awakened something within Luella, a remembrance that trust itself was a magnetic force. In the depths of the earth, Amos descended daily into the mines, his lamp casting shadows against black walls. Other miners abandoned sections they deemed empty, but Amos continued, guided by an inner knowing that preceded physical evidence. "The crystal forms before we see it," he would say, tapping his chest. "I feel its presence already." For weeks, he worked alone in the darkness, until one morning his pickaxe struck something different. As he cleared away the surrounding rock, light began to dance across the cavern walls, a vein of crystals more magnificent than any previously discovered. His faith had led him to treasure that others, lacking patience, had missed by mere feet. Your current reality reflects past patterns of thought and expectation. As you maintain steadfast faith in your desires, you create new patterns that must, by universal law, manifest in corresponding form. Faith is not mere hoping. It is the unwavering knowledge that what you seek is already yours in the invisible realm, simply awaiting its moment of emergence. When Luella finally understood this truth, she ceased searching the horizon and instead nurtured her inner certainty. She spoke of her desires as accomplished facts and moved through her days with quiet confidence. The external signs she had desperately sought began appearing naturally, like flowers breaking through soil at precisely the right season. Sacred practice. When worry whispers, answer with calm certainty, acting as if outcome already blooms. Hearing faith's echo assure success. Chapter 28. The Language of Light. Velma sat at her weathered desk each dawn, her pen hovering over empty chapters. For years she had written verses without understanding their true power, until one morning when she noticed how her poem about spring sunshine had somehow brightened the entire room. In that moment, she glimpsed a truth as old as creation itself. Words carry currents of living energy. You see, every syllable that leaves your lips sends ripples through the invisible fabric of existence. These sound waves are not mere vibrations, but architects of experience, molding the subtle substance from which all form emerges. When you speak of lack, that very frequency draws circumstances that mirror deficiency. When you voice gratitude, you weave golden threads of abundance into your reality's tapestry. Gilbert understood this principle through his art of glass blowing. In his workshop, he discovered that harsh, forceful breath would shatter delicate forms, while gentle, focused breathing could transform molten glass into vessels of extraordinary beauty. His craft revealed the same law that governs all creation. The quality of energy directed shapes the quality of what manifests. Your words are like Gilbert's breath upon hot glass. Each utterance carries the heat of intention, the pressure of belief, the rhythm of emotion. Speak with anger, and watch your day crystallize into sharp edges. Whisper with love, and feel the atmosphere soften into grace. The ancient mystery schools taught that speech was a divine gift, not for mere communication, but for conscious creation. Every word you speak is a seed planted in the fertile soil of universal intelligence. The tone of your voice waters these seeds, while your emotional state provides the nurturing warmth they need to grow. Now, more than ever, you must recognize this sacred power resting upon your tongue. The world around you is perpetually responsive to the frequencies you release through speech. Your casual conversations are actually incantations. Your daily declarations are prophecies in motion. Practice. As the sun rises tomorrow, begin your day in reverent awareness of your words' creative force. Speak softly with luminosity in your tone, imagining each vowel as a lantern illuminating the path before you. Let even your simplest greetings carry the warmth of blessing. Watch how your conscious speech transforms ordinary exchanges into bridges of light, connecting you to the infinite power that shapes all things through the living word. Chapter 29. The Infinite Circle. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Polly stood before her empty shop for the last time. Tears welled in her eyes as she turned the key in the lock, marking what seemed like a final farewell. Yet in that moment of apparent ending, an ancient wisdom stirred within her soul. Just as the sun must set to rise anew, every conclusion carries within it the seed of fresh beginnings. Each ending is but a doorway, leading to expanded possibilities that await your recognition. The universal law reveals that nothing truly ends. It merely transforms, reshaping itself into new expressions of infinite potential. Through the veils of apparent finality, you glimpse the eternal dance of creation. Every dream fulfilled opens space for grander visions. Every relationship complete makes way for deeper connections. Every chapter closed allows wisdom to crystallize into stepping stones toward greater understanding. In the quiet workshop at the edge of town, Jasper crafted wedding rings with reverent attention. As his skilled hands polished each golden circle, he witnessed a profound truth. There was no beginning point. No ending point, only continuous flow. The ring, ancient symbol of eternity, whispered secrets of life's endless renewal. "Where does the circle start?" he would ask his apprentices, smiling at their confusion. "Where does it end?" The answer lay in its perfect continuity, an unbroken flow of becoming. So, too, does your journey spiral onward, each apparent conclusion revealing itself as transformation in disguise. The universe knows no true endings, only cycles of expression evolving through consciousness. What appears to fade simply gathers energy for its next emergence, like a flower returning to seed before blooming anew. When you resist endings, you create separation from life's natural rhythm. By embracing the completion of each cycle, you align with the infinite stream of creation. Trust that every farewell opens doors to new hellos. Every loss makes space for fresh abundance. Every sunset promises dawn. As you witness the continuous renewal of all things, fear of endings dissolves into appreciation for life's endless becoming. You are not separate from this eternal dance, but move within it as consciousness exploring itself through endless forms and experiences. Practice. Each evening, sit quietly and welcome the day's completion. As you review events that have concluded, whisper "thank you" to each one, feeling gratitude for its gifts. Rather than mourning what appears to end, sense the subtle stirring of new life within the space of completion. Let your heart open to the eternal flow of becoming, trusting that all changes serve the expansion of consciousness through you. Chapter 30. The Master Key. A wise woman named Edith spent years searching sacred texts and ancient wisdom, believing enlightenment lay hidden in dusty tomes. Through countless dawns of meditation and evenings of contemplation, she gradually understood that the greatest truth resided not in external seeking, but in the quiet recognition of her own divine nature. The universe speaks through the language of alignment. When thought, emotion, word, and action flow as one current, you become a living expression of creation itself. This is the master key that unlocks all doors, not a physical object or secret knowledge, but the harmonious union of all aspects of being. Just as a river doesn't strain to flow, your natural state is one of creative power. When inner resistance dissolves, divine energy moves through you effortlessly. Your thoughts become seeds planted in fertile soil, your emotions the nurturing rain, your words the sunlight that calls forth growth, and your actions the harvest that feeds the world. Consider Norman, who taught advanced mathematics for 40 years. His greatest joy came not from solving complex equations himself, but from watching understanding dawn in his students' eyes. One day, observing his most promising pupil surpass his own insights, he smiled and stepped aside. In that moment of graceful surrender, he embodied the highest teaching, that true mastery means becoming transparent to the light that seeks to shine through you. The master key is not something to be attained, but rather a truth to be remembered. You are already one with the creative force that births galaxies and blooms flowers. Your only task is to clear away the debris of doubt and resistance that clouds this knowing. When you align with this truth, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. You need not force or strain, for you are the very power you seek to wield. Every thought carries the vibration of certainty. every word rings with authority, every action flows with grace. Ancient practice. Sit in stillness each morning and evening. Place your hand upon your heart and whisper, "I am the living key through which universal love expresses." Feel yourself becoming transparent to divine energy. Throughout your day, pause occasionally to sense yourself as a clear channel through which infinite wisdom flows. Let every thought, word, and deed arise not from personal will, but from alignment with the creative current that moves through all life. Trust that as you surrender to this flow, you become the master key that unlocks heaven on earth. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. In this final revelation, you stand at the threshold of understanding that has quietly awaited your recognition. The master key is not found in distant temples or ancient scrolls, but in the sacred chamber of your own consciousness. Through each lesson shared in these chapters, you have been guided to one essential truth. The power of creation flows through you as naturally as breath. The mystery that sages and seekers have pursued across ages resolves into profound simplicity. Creation is an eternal conversation between your inner world and the infinite mind of the universe. Every thought you nurture, every feeling you embrace, every word you speak participates in this divine dialogue. To master this dialogue is to awaken to your true nature as a conscious creator. It requires no complex rituals or elaborate ceremonies, only the willingness to align your entire being with the current of universal good. When your thoughts flow in harmony with love's wisdom, when your emotions resonate with joy's frequency, when your words carry the tone of truth, you become a living embodiment of the creative force itself. The 33rd degree of understanding referenced in ancient teachings points not to hierarchical achievement, but to the dissolution of all perceived separation between human and divine. It is the recognition that you have always been one with Source, that every boundary was an illusion born of forgotten identity. This wisdom does not set you apart, but draws you into deeper communion with all life. It is not a crown to wear, but a light to share, not a position to defend, but a presence to extend. The master key opens the only door that ever needed opening, the door of remembrance that you are, and have always been, an expression of infinite creative power. In this moment of recognition, the seeker's journey transforms into the creator's dance. The search ends where it began, in the quiet sanctuary of your own heart, where universal wisdom has always whispered its timeless truth.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.